BaconBit.
What was that? Was that just a voice in my head?
Let me eat this BaconBit.
He's docile now. He can't do that.
Welcome to this BaconBit, this review of Venom.
There
will be blood carnage.
Mm-hmm. It's Chili Con Carnage, I believe.
Chili Con Carnage.
Subtitle.
Venom, Let There Be Carnage.
Does Venom drink a milkshake?
I drink a milkshake, Eddie.
He makes a lot of messes in
Make
the
it
kitchen.
chocolate, Eddie.
I think he makes breakfast.
Have you seen There Will Be Blood recently?
Yes.
What a movie.
Yeah.
So good.
Like, what a good movie, right?
Great movie.
Hey.
I've seen it
this
one
is not
time.
a bacon bit. This is a bacon bit. The people listen to this because they want to hear the review of Venom, Let There Be Carnage.
I'm just being obnoxious because you guys didn't let me watch this movie.
Well, look, I can only bring a +1, and Joel won this time.
I can fit very neatly in a suitcase.
I bring a suitcase for movie screenings?
You were working.
It's not like an airplane.
It was funny, though.
Excuse me, I have one check bag for this screening.
Why is your overhead luggage 220 pounds?
Kent and I were trying to figure out where to eat, if we could eat anywhere on theme with Venom, Let There Be Carnage. And the closest thing I could come up with was Hardee's, because of Tom Hardy.
I would have gone with carne asada.
That was my other one.
Yeah.
It was.
But we ended up getting burgers.
Yeah, we got burgers. So we disappointed everyone.
Cajun
We're
fries.
sorry.
It was tasty.
It was
Hardee's,
tasty, though.
You know, Carl's Jr., same company.
Yeah.
Yeah, precisely.
So, yes, Venom, Let There Be Carnage. If you don't know, Venom came out, when was that, 2 years ago?
I think 3 years ago, based on pandemic timing. Because who
Time
knows?
is so weird
Yes.
right now. So
Which we did review on a Bacon Bit previously.
We did. It was 2018 is when it came out.
Yeah.
And so this is the sequel to that.
And once again, Sony is trying to build their own little universe outside of the Spider-Man property they actually own because it's on loan to the MCU.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to establish all these extra villains, which Venom came out and we did not give it great reviews. Zach, we didn't get your take on that one as much.
I don't know if I've even seen it.
All right, it was super forgettable. We'll just say that, right?
Yeah.
You haven't seen it?
I think I have. But I always get it mixed up with the better, cheaper movie that came out before it.
Upgrade. Yes.
Upgrade's good.
Yeah, Upgrade with the discount Tom Hardy is better. So that
So I
came
get
out,
them mixed up in my brain. So I don't even really remember.
and it made nearly $800 million.
Made a lot of money.
And so Sony's like, hey, guess what? We're just going to play in this sandbox. So we're going to announce the second one, which we're reviewing now, a Morbius movie with Jared Leto, Silver Sable, just all these other characters.
They're making a Silver Sable movie?
Yeah. They say.
Not
well,
the car,
cool.
Zach. Not the car.
Oh.
So we're going to get...
Mercury Sable.
Gross. You would see that movie.
I would. I actually just, yeah.
But the plot synopsis of Venom, Let There Be Carnage is...
Hold on. Before we talk about that, we have to talk about something very important.
Oh, yes.
We have a
sure.
contest.
It's October.
Happy Halloween.
Not yet, but it's October
Soon.
Yes. So we are starting our Octoberness on Monday officially. What? Why?
Cats.
No, we're not reviewing cats. Mr. Mistopheles. But we are doing our traditional October giveaway.
Yes, we are.
So on Monday, you're going to hear more about this giveaway. We'll give you the details. We'll have a post on social media. Look for that. But it's a pretty cool prize.
I think so too.
Yeah, look for that. Look forward to that on Monday.
All right. On with the show.
Tom Hardy returns to the big screen as the lethal protector Venom, one of Marvel's greatest and most complex characters.
What a terrible synopsis.
What a terrible presentation of Venom.
What? Well, how much you love Venom, don't you?
No, just like Venom was one of those, Spider-Man back in the day.
It's a very 90s idea.
It is. Spider-Man back in the day was one of those, he had Doc Ock, he had Green Goblin, he had the kind of the rogues.
Yeah.
And then in the 90s, Venom came along and it was like, oh, wow, this guy's like
You always
equal
need
but
a
evil.
bigger, stronger doppelganger in the 90s.
I did, like this whole idea, like Reverse Flash and all of these, like he's going to be the same, but he's going to be evil.
Yeah.
Bizarro.
That's the Marvel way.
Well, it's just general superhero way when they've run out of ideas.
But it's when we grew up and it was freaking awesome back in the day because Venom is, I wouldn't say full of attitude like the characters become, but it was menacing. Once Venom, the symbiote, infects you, it knows everything about you because it's basically in your brain. And so even if it jumps to someone else, kind of like that's how it started. Spider-Man was infected with the black suit and it knew everything about Peter Parker. Spoiler alert, Peter Parker, Spider-Man.
Whoa!
I know, I'm sorry.
Easy there.
And then so when it jumped into Eddie Brock, it then knew everything about Peter Parker and knew how to basically ruin Peter's life. And we saw that whether in the cartoon or the comics or whatnot. And
Topher
now,
Grace.
Yeah,
Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, there's that movie.
Yeah.
But it's always been like this rushed product, I feel, of Venom. But they knew that it's such a popular character that, we got the movie and now we have a sequel?
Yeah.
We have a sequel.
And yeah. So
apparently this is also directed by Andy Serkis.
Yeah, Andy Serkis of Gollum fame.
I was watching online and saw one of those like autocomplete interview videos with Tom Hardy and Andy Serkis. I'm like, what does Andy Serkis play in the movie? And apparently he directed it.
And so the difference here, and the thing that was teased at the end of the first Venom, is Woody Harrelson playing Carnage. Cletus Kasady is a serial killer who is just insane. And that is a character that's been established once again in the 90s, popularized by Sega Genesis' Ultimate Carnage.
What are we, some kind of Carnage squad?
That's basically the impression. He looked like Carrot Top at the end of the movie, and now they've given him a haircut.
Yes.
So anyways.
Well, talking about the 90s, I really feel like it was... I feel like the color swap thing was really popular. And so it was almost like you had Venom, and he was a cool, like, strong doppelganger to Spider-Man. And then you had Carnage, who was like a cool color swap.
Yes.
With extra arms.
I remember as a kid seeing a picture of Carnage, and I was like, "Oh, Red Venom. Who's that?"
Yeah.
But it's like, "Oh no, he's like even worse."
Yeah, and he uses a lot of weapons, which is goo.
Yeah, because in the comics, in the cartoons, Venom is a villain. He's a bad guy, and Carnage is a bad guy.
Yes.
In these movies, this started with the first movie, so this isn't really a spoiler. But in this series, he's not a bad guy. He's a lethal protector, as they call him. He's
as he said about 37 times in this movie.
Lethal protector. He says it a lot. Yeah.
Whereas, does that kind of get on your nerves to see someone that's been? And I know you can't really have, unless it's a Joker movie, apparently, but you can't really have a straight up villain who likes to eat human heads as your protagonist.
Does he like to eat human heads in the comics? I don't remember that in the
cartoon. They actually
at
never
all.
really get into that. He devours a lot and he causes a lot of destruction.
I mean, he's got that mouth. You got to think he's going to eat something. But
that was the joke, though.
Here's the thing. This gets into where we kind of are with our protagonists. And I blame AMC for this because they did it twice with Mad Men and with Breaking Bad, where the villain is the protagonist. And so it's, you know, I think anymore we're just so full of these gray characters, these anti-heroes, your Deadpools, your grumpy Luke Skywalkers. Like, just everybody's ambiguous now.
Well,
and I don't like that. I want my good guys good and my bad guys bad.
Yes, thank you, Zach. I completely agree with you on that. But then you get ones like shows like Breaking Bad where, it's a villain. You don't really root for him, but you're engaged in his story. And I'm like, that's how an anti-hero kind of works. He's not really a hero, but you still kind of root for him because they're
you see the decline.
Yes.
Well, I don't think
it's a tragedy.
Nobody's rooting for Walter White in the last 3 seasons.
No.
They're rooting for Jesse.
Yeah.
But
But the difference is good writing. Good writing will make you care. Like, look at Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
It will make you care about characters you hated one season ago. But then you watch something like Venom, which really only has about an hour and a half to tell you this story. Yeah. And this movie is specifically an hour and a half. And you're thinking,
well, that's kind of nice. I feel like a lot of these movies have gone 2:15 lately.
Yeah, precisely. Superhero movies are generally over 2 hours, sometimes 4 hours recently. And so this one needs to tell a story about how does Cletus Kasady, who's in prison...
Oh, it's an hour 30 even.
Yes. How does he get, with credits, how does he get infected and then cause a reign of destruction? And then how does Venom save everyone from him?
Hold on. Is there a superhero movie that's actually shorter than an episode of Baconsale?
Apparently there is now. And so it has a lot of ground to cover because I truly think, even though we've been told, and I'm getting into my review here, without spoilers, because we will get into spoilers, you need to see Cletus Kasady not just be told what he did. You need to see a little of him as Carnage. And in what this movie does is instead it gives you like a little, honestly, a really cool animation sequence.
That was cool.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, I like that.
Where they do this.
I mean, it's grim.
It's grim.
It's very dark.
But it's a medium change, and it's creative. Because this movie is tonally all over the place.
Yeah.
But it's very creative, and it shows kind of what his childhood was like. But then when he becomes Carnage, it's just like, okay, let's end the movie.
Really? My worry about this was that it was going to rely upon the nostalgia of you knowing who Carnage is.
Exactly.
Does it do
No.
that?
I would say so. And not as a character, but knowing that he's really scary.
No, I think you can go into this having no idea who Carnage is and just kind of get okay, it's like, it's the same as Venom's powers.
Which is the first movie as well.
Because that reveal at the end of the movie kind of felt like a, Benedict Cumberbatch's Khan kind of thing. Like, that doesn't mean anything to me right now.
The stinger at the end of the first episode or first movie was him saying like, "There's gonna be let there be carnage" or something.
There's gonna be carnage,
and all the fans went, "Oh, that's the name of a character who's like Venom, but different. It's red."
Our favorite guy, Ryan George. That's the guy from the movie.
Yeah.
There's precisely a moment where he says, "Let there be carnage," and it's like,
that's
roll
the name
credits.
of the movie. Roll credits.
Yeah,
and so it doesn't get into like I think the destruction that these two could cause, and I feel like putting these two behemoths, which are giant monsters, in a city, and there is a lot of CG, but
like
they're
Hulk and Abomination kind of deal. Yeah,
but there's not enough really going on other than they fight once. Like you don't see Carnage actually threaten regular people. And granted, this is cops.
Well, I mean, not regular walking on the street civilians.
I mean, like there needs to be a fear of what a serial killer could do with these ultimate destructive powers.
But Kent, this is the city that apparently has no surveillance cameras or news footage whatsoever.
Not at all.
These things are happening on the street and no one takes notice or pulls out a cell phone to record it.
Yeah, everybody's walking out with a super camera in their pocket. I mean, I don't know if I'm jumping ahead, but I am confused by the rating of this movie as I was with the last one.
Which is what I was getting to.
Yeah.
If this was an R, it would probably be a much more fitting movie for what was meant to happen here.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: is they get away the head biting. He'll bite down and then they'll go off camera, so you never actually see the head come off. That's how they get around that.
Yeah.
Surprisingly violent though, like in the sense of like there's a high body count here and a lot of language. And I was like, this is one where I'm like, are they going for? I mean, they're going for teens. Honestly, is what they're going for here.
It feels like maybe they made an R-rated version, and they're like, "Well, we need to still make money."
They're like, "This is a hard PG-13." Then
Yes,
I wouldn't say that hard. I'd say,
like hard,
because like the violence
without the R,
the violence is there, the blood isn't.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people who die, but it's like they get thrown out or launched off a building.
Such a dumb technicality.
But essentially, just real quick, so I want to get to Joel's take as well. But Tom Hardy, it is basically the voice in his head movie, which it borrows a lot from the last one, but it's way more actually slapstick than the last one. It's like they took some of the sillier scenes in the first one and said, we want to double down on that.
They heard what people laughed at in the last movie and said, more of that.
And so there's like a lot of domestic disputes between these two voices.
And forgive my ignorance. Does Tom Hardy do the Venom voice? Do we know?
I actually don't know.
I assume that he would. If only there was a way to find out.
There's no way of knowing.
We'd never know.
But essentially, this is Tom Hardy. I think actually this role is a role where he can have a good time because he's a very serious actor most of the time. And I think he's just like, hey, I can just have fun with this and I can chew the scenery. And I feel like that's okay for him, even though I feel like the role is beneath him. Because he plays with this affect where he's like nervous the entire time. He's got these tics. And so he's just got to... it's not a very relevant way to play the character either. Because there's no straight man.
Yeah. Eddie Walk.
Yeah.
Just the character, I've never connected to that character.
And you never really root for him in the first one or this one. No. So anyways, I feel like this was... I'm confused by the series and how it's still going. So I'm just going to jump in and I'm going to give this a C-.
Okay.
Kent, do you remember what I said to you before we walked in the theater?
No, I don't.
We were in the theater, we walked in, I started talking about the movie. Remember what I said?
No.
I said I had hope.
Oh, yeah, you did say you had hope, and I didn't believe you, but yeah.
Yeah, I had hope because I said, what if this one's good? Because I didn't like the last one.
No.
And so I went into this one.
A lot of people were surprised by the last one, but I don't think anybody's saying, wow, that was really good.
I don't think it's anyone's favorite movie. Well, every movie is someone's favorite movie.
That's true.
Someone out there likes Highlander 2, and that's just weird to me.
The Quickening?
Yeah. Someone likes it.
I thought there could be only one. Go on.
Ha-ha. But I went into this with a little bit of hope. I said, what if...
It's a new director.
They got all the kinks out on that first one and kind of, found their rhythm, and now they hit it, and it was going to be good. And, Kent, I have to say, after watching this movie, no. No, it's not. In fact, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed because I was hoping I could give this a lower score than the last one. So I had I probably gave the last one like a 2.5, and I can give this one like a 2. I gave the last one a 2, and I'm like, crap, do I have to drop this one down to a 1.5? I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of things that I liked about it. The visual effects are fun, meaning that's like the whole sludgy but solid effect when he pop out and talk to him. I liked when they did that.
I
looks
do
good.
honestly think when they do the close-ups on the characters, it works for me because it looks like Venom. It looks like Carnage.
They do.
Carnage
They
gets
look-
gigantic at times, and you're like, that's cool looking.
Yeah. I still don't quite understand why he looks like Spider-Man, even though he was never on Spider-Man.
It will never
That's
make
beside
sense.
the point.
Don't worry about it.
And why he looks like Venom when he's on Eddie Brock, but then when he jumps to other people, most of the time he looks just the same, except for when he's... Okay, anyway. We're getting
Yeah.
this way. I don't
It's
wanna
only
get
an hour and a
spoilers.
half, and they're not going to go into it.
But I just... right near the beginning, like right at the beginning, they do this whole kind of backstory thing that I was like, I'm not really buying this. There's some terrible dubbing right at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm not really buying into this kind of relationship, the backstory they're trying to create here. And then they kept building on it, and they kept trying to be so cool. This movie sacrifices substance for style. It is all about the look. It is all about the quick one-liners. It is all about the explosions. It's all about that. They don't really care about story. I feel like almost the screenwriters, that there were two screenwriters, much like Eddie Brock and Venom, who would not look at each other's notes and kind of jump in and write their part of the script and then jump back, because they're just making up powers as they go along.
Yeah.
And I was like, that doesn't work. Like, how does that work? And they just go, he's Venom, or he's Carnage.
Of the two major action scenes, though, did you like either one? Like,
They
were you okay with them?
Pretty sloppy.
Okay.
I think they were, for the most part, there was cool shots. Like, comic book wise, there's cool, like, okay, that could be a frame in a comic book. Like, that looks cool. But in regards to just the way it was, I wasn't like fully engaged. And I feel bad because when you said an hour and a half, I was surprised because I was like, that felt long.
Oh, no.
This was
No,
one of those,
it felt like a pilot of a TV show for me.
this is one of those movies where I felt like you know, when you're not fully engaged in the movie, you start noticing, oh, I'm uncomfortable, I have to shift, or I'm hot, or this is one where I started kind of feeling that of like, I've been sitting down too long, I need to move around. Like, I wasn't into the movie, and I felt bad the whole time because I was just like, I'm not liking this. So I don't want to give it a 1.5 because that seems really low.
I don't think it's actually worse than the first one. It's about equal to me. Because this one gets right to the point. It doesn't waste time and say, here's symbiotes and here are the experiments. Like, there's a character.
Yeah, you're right.
Subplot.
They don't explain anything.
They don't explain
happens.
anything. There's a subplot there where they add this character. I'm not going to get it until spoilers, where I'm like, okay, that's comic oriented, but like, no one really cares. Like, we just want to see this main character. We just want to see Carnage.
Yeah.
And there's a loss of focus.
This is some of the positives. I feel like Woody Harrelson as a serial killer, very menacing.
Choose it well.
Most of the parts when he's doing his thing,
He probably is.
he probably
right?
is, yes. But when he's doing
Allegedly.
his thing as himself, I'm like, okay, yeah, he's pretty creepy. But then when he turned into Carnage, it kind of just becomes a CG. It becomes exactly like the first movie.
Yeah.
Almost exactly. And I was kind of like annoyed by that. So
Were you also surprised to see Michelle Williams come back to this movie?
I was.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's so above this franchise.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
So you're going to give it 2?
Yeah, I'll probably land on 2 because I didn't hate it. I just didn't like it.
I laughed once.
I was actually taking note of laughter in the audience. People were bored.
Yeah.
And like,
And usually at screenings, they're excessive.
there was one
This was
person.
mostly critics, though.
There was one
We're a
person.
hard group to please.
But there was one person who laughed at all the jokes.
Yes.
Almost everyone else.
Did you catch me laughing, though? We were wearing masks, so you may not have caught
don't
me.
know if I saw it.
But there was one point where he said, "We don't like you, Dan." And I was like, that was the dumbest line, but I think that's so funny.
And there was a couple of those lines. And yeah.
Because it's just said with so much force, and you're like, what am I watching?
Well, the writers really, I don't know they know the character of Venom that much, because at some points he's a complete idiot. At other points he's like, I know all the cosmos ever.
Master Detective.
I'm a
Yes.
master detective, and I'm full of wisdom. Oh, by the way, I don't know what this is.
I need to eat brains. Maybe that's why he eats brains.
I started counting the number of I want to eat them jokes at the beginning, Kent, like literally counting on my fingers. I ran out of fingers.
So do you think this movie would have been, you said it was about the same as the last one? You feel about the same?
I do, yes.
Would it have been better? So this was directed by Andy Serkis, who also directed Mowgli, the Netflix Jungle Book movie.
never saw.
No, yeah, many people didn't. Would it have been better if Ruben Fleischer had directed it, who he has done such hits as both the Zombieland movies, Gangster Squad, and 7 episodes of Superstore?
Did he do the first Venom or no?
He did the first Venom.
About the same. I think this was
The direction wasn't the
This
issue.
was a studio project. I think it was
you think
mandated.
the director doesn't really matter?
Honestly.
in this one.
Truthfully, I think if they went with the plot, if it was like a scary Venom story, and Eddie, as a journalist, which he is, had to track him down and find out how these kills have been happening.
For what?
Honestly.
Like in the first one, he was a blogger, I think.
He had like a TV show.
Yeah, something like that. And then this one, they never really talk about where his publications are in the newspaper.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for all of these superheroes to be like, we're 5 years away from all of them being YouTubers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's why we'll see in the positive.
What's up, guys? Eating brains here.
This doesn't feel like any other superhero movie franchise.
For better or worse.
Yes. Same.
So it's its own thing.
It's its own thing.
That's kind of nice, though.
That is a positive.
Admit.
Like, you know, there's Deadpool where there's a lot of meta commentary. This one almost approaches that based on how much like dialogue there's happening, but it is its own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we could have done this entire Bacon bit like Eddie and Venom, where Kent would say anything. Go ahead, Kent, say anything.
You know, I didn't really like the cinematography.
I liked it a lot.
Yep, that's it.
No, he didn't.
That's kind of the foundation of this whole show.
No, it's not.
All right, so let's jump right into spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, or if you just, if you don't care, continue listening.
We're going to spoil it now.
Or if you're just on Baconsale, you're going to deal with it anyway.
Hey, I don't think we should spoil it, Venom.
Eddie,
Like Venom,
Eddie.
like let's not do this.
Eddie, can we spoil it now? Let me spoil it.
Fine.
I want to spoil the movie, Eddie.
Okay, fine.
I'm
Spoil
spoiling
it
now.
All right, so we're into spoilers. Zach, do you care? You haven't seen this movie. Do you care?
No.
I don't think we're going to get too spoiler, I guess, because there's not much to spoil. There's one big spoiler.
Yeah. Yes, there are.
Our next Bacon bit, I'll care. This one, I'm good.
There was a poster that came out, and it just had Venom with like his shush face on, and it said no,
yeah,
behind him, and it was saying no spoilers because they were very concerned about a major spoiler in this movie.
Are we jumping right to the end?
That comes, might as well.
I am curious of what that was.
That comes right. It's the. No, it's not post credits.
It's a mid credit stinger.
Yeah,
and it's
That's the no spoiler.
Yeah.
I hate that stuff.
Yeah,
Go on.
And so, well, they do kind of.
I hate mid-credit
They tease
anything.
another villain at the end of the actual picture, but it's weird because
is that what that was?
Yeah, it
Did
was.
you call it a picture?
At the end of the picture. Yeah, I did.
At the end of the picture show when I watched it on the television.
So before we get to the mid credit stinger, there is a cop who was kind of just killed in this movie. And you're like, oh, you think there had been more of an arc there?
Well, when you say cop that was killed, he's a detective. He's the main one. Mm-hmm. He has
Working
a history.
alongside Eddie.
He has a history with Carnage's love interest, or not Carnage's love interest, Cassius Clay's interest. No, what's his name?
Cassius Clay.
It's not Cassius Clay.
Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, what is this? What is the Carnage's the guy? Woody Harrelson.
Shriek. Oh, Cletus Kasady.
That's it.
Cassius Clay.
Quiet. No. Don't make fun of me. I'll eat your brain.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But he has this whole backstory with her love interest, and then. I mean, they telegraph who this guy is for the great. I know. He telegraphed who this guy is way back when.
Yeah.
And then at the end, he's kind of just killed unceremoniously. And then at the end,
he gets the blue eyes.
you see his eyes open up, and you thought he was dead because he was hung with a chain. Mm-hmm. You don't know if he's dead. He kind of gets thrown, and you're like, is he dead? Is he not? We don't know. He didn't get any sort of finale because he was kind of a main character, and then he just kind of gets thrown off the side. Mm-hmm. But then he opens his eyes and just says, monsters. And his eyes are glowing.
It was
blue.
a very Green Lantern 2011 sort of thing where they talk about Hector, big brain guy, whatever.
Cassius Clay.
Cassius Clay.
Yeah.
They have that kind of moment where they tease a villain that you'll never ever see, most likely. Because no one really cares about this villain.
Sinestro.
But who's that villain?
It's
Cassius Clay.
no, he changed his name. Anyways, but we also, before we get to the big mid-credit stinger, yes, Zach, do you have a question?
We were almost there, and you pulled it back.
I know. I'm going to pull it back because you did reference there's a love interest for Cletus Kasady, and her name is Shriek. And she was kind of mentioned, like a lot of fans thought she would be in the first one, but now she is literally like Banshee from the X-Men.
Where she
like
just
those
screams
kind of
really
powers.
loud, breaks glass.
And so she's another psychopath, similar to Cletus Kasady. They're star-crossed lovers.
I did like how her power is Carnage's weakness. That was actually kind of
why
cool.
wasn't that used better?
It wasn't used better, but the thing is, I was like, oh yeah, that's
Basically because she screams and sound hurts these symbiotes.
Yeah. So when she uses her power against Venom, it also affects Carnage.
Carnage isn't super happy with that. But then there's the division. But I think the real mistake in that is focusing way too much on her because it's a Carnage story.
They went way too heavy on her.
They literally have a red wedding in this movie.
They say they call it
Red Wedding.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So now the mid credit stinger.
Yes.
Is Eddie and
comedic.
Eddie and Venom are out hanging out at a beach.
Yeah.
And
They're in Mexico, hanging out, watching cable TV.
Yeah. And then they're talking, and he's like, "You don't know how much I know. We know the hive mind, billions of years of information.
I'm a genius.
I'm a genius, and I will give you a sliver of that information right now." Which did he?
He didn't, because it just became...
all of a sudden the room kind of like it starts shaking, like kind of vibrating weird.
They time traveled.
All of a sudden the room changes completely
in a parallel dimension.
And he's sitting there, like the room was kind of cruddy before, and now it's a nice room. And instead of watching Mexican soap operas, it's J. Jonah Jameson on the TV saying, "And Spider-Man is Peter Parker."
This is bald J. Jonah Jameson.
This is J.K. Simmons, J. Jonah Jameson.
This is the moment from the end of Far From Home. And so Venom goes, "We are like
dailybugle.net."
He goes, "This boy," or something like that, basically.
He says, "This boy," then licks the TV,
which is a cool moment, because Venom and Spider-Man have a history, but they haven't established
Not in this.
So what they're trying to say is that Venom is a dimension-traveling, universe-traveling, 5,000-year-old symbiote who is now with this Eddie Brock, even though it could be... And he knows everything about the cosmos.
Are you saying Venom caused the time shift? The dimension shift?
My goodness, by licking the TV? No. Venom is just...
before that, but...
Venom is a traveler.
Okay, so you're still saying it's still the
Yeah, I'm saying
Doctor Strange.
Venom has been around the parallel dimensions based on what they're implying in his history with a Peter Parker or a Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
So, and that's...
Peter B. Parker.
Precisely what's going to happen in Far From Home. But I don't think he'll appear in
You sure?
No Way Home.
Are you sure he can't shift dimensions? Because apparently these guys can do anything. These powers, they can do anything.
It seems like they did shift dimensions.
They can literally hack the internet. They can stick... Carnage sticks his fingers into a laptop.
Cletus, so Woody Harrelson says, "Internet," and Carnage sticks his fingers in a laptop, and he says,
"Does this have internets?" On the laptop, and then he puts his fingers in.
Internet.
And as soon as he puts his finger, no browser opens up. It just suddenly goes to this page of like, "Here's your girlfriend in this place." I'm like, that's not even how computers work.
I forgive.
When I stick goo into the USBs, my computer doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
What's that movie with Sandra Bullock from the 90s?
The Net.
The Net.
Yeah.
I forgive The Net for some bad computers.
They also can apparently
past
teleport, because the girlfriend is in this underground bunker facility, like heavy security. And they don't allow her to talk. She types because they don't want to hear her voice. So she's in this soundproof cage. And she's typing to the doctor outside, who's in this facility, my underground bunker facility, all locked up and all that. And all of a sudden, she's talking to the girl, and she's like, "Yeah, your boyfriend is never going to be here." And then all of a sudden, types in the computer, "I am here," and he's inside the room. Never explains how he got there.
The files are in the computer.
While he's inside the room, part of him, Carnage, is out the back, like little tentacles come out the back. Somehow go up over the movie set and then down and get the doctor.
We saw the widescreen version. There is a full IMAX format where you can see the ventilation above. That's the only explanation I'm going to try to give the movie.
It really was one of those moments where I went, movie, you made a mistake here. This doesn't make any sense, because you see him on the one side of the wall, and then the tentacles go on the other side of the wall and hang the woman.
It just doesn't stop to take a breath, this entire movie. And it wastes a lot of time with quirky dialogue and funny hijinks in the apartment.
How does Carnage come to be in the comic universe?
Same way. It is, not quite. It's not a bite or anything like that, but part of the symbiote falls off in the prison with Eddie Brock.
Okay.
And so Cletus Kasady, by the way, he's a different character in the movie than he is in the comics, because in the movie he's like, "I'm not crazy. I'm just vengeful.
I'm just vengeful."
And he's not. The way that Joker in Dark Knight was written, chaos, that is Carnage. Carnage only cares about killing. He doesn't care about, "You misrepresented me. I'm angry at you, journalist," or I was abused as a kid. In the comics,
there's really no justification.
He's insane.
Yeah, it's like the symbiote gets on Spider-Man, and Spider-Man's inherently like a good guy, right? So then he fights back.
Well, and that's how Venom got his powers, was from Spider-Man.
So Venom gets, or Eddie Brock gets it. Eddie Brock's a whatever, and so when whatever guy gets evil symbiote, evil guy, right? But then Carnage or Cassius Clay is an evil person. And so evil person gets evil symbiote.
Cassius Clay is not an evil person.
No, he's actually quite nice. Rest in peace. But yeah, Cletus Kasady is an evil person. When he gets the stuff, it's supposed to be like multiplied.
Yes.
Pure. Like, you're telling me there's supposed to be character justification for his choices?
They try to give him that, yes.
So, I mean, in this movie, though, what happened? How it happens is Eddie Brock is interviewing the psychopath in the cage, and then he bites Eddie Brock, and a bit of his blood gets in Eddie Brock's mouth, or in why can't I remember his name? Cletus's mouth, and that's what turns him into a symbiote.
Cletus the slack-jawed yokel.
Hey, you got some blood in my mouth.
So it's a drop of blood that has...
The moment worked for me. But honestly, there's no other way to really get away with it.
Venom is so aware of where he is in Eddie's body at any given time. He would not allow a piece of himself to get out.
He told Eddie not to go. And there's no way he would have helped him approach him or attack Cletus in that moment.
Like I said, they don't have any security cameras or eyes in this movie because all the time Venom's throwing out tentacles or like his head pops out. And there's even a part when he's having a full-on conversation in the bathroom next to this stall where a woman's in there. Mm-hmm. And she's like paying attention and notices he's talking to himself. They don't go anywhere with it. Like everyone kind of forgets that it happens. Like they don't see it.
Like random Sam Raimi extra style, or just like it's a random person.
Well, like they're having this whole big fight in their apartment. Eddie and Venom are fighting each other, and like they're throwing stuff out the window, and like tentacles are flying out, and no one really pays attention. Everyone keeps saying there's some sort of monster. We don't have any idea what it is. But Joel,
there's the moment where Venom goes to a rave and talks about being accepted.
Oh, I forgot about that part. He literally picks up a microphone. He's wearing glow sticks. He picks a microphone, and I said, I don't know if you saw, I put my finger on the button, and I said, if he starts singing or rapping, I'm pushing this button and I'm walking out of this theater.
It's Secret of the Ooze all of a sudden.
Yeah. It really was. He
go
gets
Venom, go Venom, go.
He literally,
go,
out of nowhere. Go. Out of nowhere, he's in this rave, and he's taken over a couple different people. He's not an Eddie right now. And he kills him. Like, he kills a bunch of people just by being in them, and everyone's okay with that and feels bad for Venom.
Yeah.
He's killing random people in the street. I mean, don't get me wrong. Venom should be a villain, but in this movie, they don't make him out to be, but he still kills a bunch of people.
There was a funny line, though, when he was giving this speech where he's like, someone's like, I love you. And he's like, I also love you, one person.
Yeah.
I kind of went,
Yeah, but he gives this whole speech about, we should be kind to each other, and we should respect aliens. And
then he did
Isn't that a joke from Megamind?
Yeah, basically. He did a mic drop.
Oh, there's also a random Purge reference.
Oh, yeah.
Where
Doesn't really make sense.
A girl with a Purge mask is like, oh, hey. And he looks down, he looks at her mask and goes, you're not my type. And where I'm like, I asked Ken, I'm like, is there any connection between the Purge and Venom?
Probably a writer. Probably one of the screenwriters.
Didn't make any sense.
Says a lot. Zach, you want to see this movie?
Not at all. Not even a little bit.
I really was disappointed, to be honest. I really hoped that we could hit the ground running.
And we're being a little condescending, right? Because there may be listener out there that really like the first one for its weird tone, for its unpredictable nature. And this one provides a lot more of the same. Like, first half
literally
is just a lot of the... Yeah, but the first half of the movie is... Yeah, I would agree with that, too.
Yeah.
It's just, would you compare this to Deadpool and Deadpool 2?
No.
I feel like that was kind of the same
There's
idea.
a far drop-off with number 2. This one feels like the same kind of movie.
Okay. So not quite the... I'm sick of
lack
this.
of quality or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
and these are so short.
The ending takes place in this kind of church under construction, and there's like this whole wedding theme going on, where the girl's like wearing this cool dress and with like a veil and everything, and he's up there in his suit and like the music and everything, and I kind of went, this looks cool. Like I did like that kind of setting for the finale.
Yeah,
but then it just turned like once again into random CGI battle fights.
A lot of dust.
So then, just to clarify, this movie happens. This movie ends. And then are we seeing Venom's perspective of being brought into the Marvel Cinematic world from Doctor Strange's spell?
That's what it seems like to me.
They're really going to try to somehow bring in Spider-Man elements, I think, into Venom 3.
Do you know why they probably put this in the end credits? So that they can remove it as soon as the rights go away.
Probably. Yeah.
Interesting. I'm wondering what the point is of doing that, because I feel like it's always been like, yeah, we're going to try and get Venom into the MCU, and Kevin Feige's like, no, you're not.
Yeah,
I don't want that.
And now it may be part of the deal.
No post-credit sequence, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, and one I should have said this in the spoiler-free version. One F word.
Oh. Well, now we can say it is the last line.
No, we can't say the F word.
No.
Oh, I'm saying it right now.
No.
No, it was said when he kills Carnage.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, spoilers, right? And it's kind of like, is this like an Arnold Schwarzenegger late 80s movie? Like,
it
what's
felt
going
like
on
that kind
here?
of climactic, like, here we go, big build-up, punchline, woo, yeah, we're cool. And I'm like, no.
Don't F with the babysitter.
That kind of moment. That kind of moment.
But that was a good moment.
Yeah.
But if you like this movie or are looking forward to this movie, please let us know. Because, I mean, yeah, we didn't love it. But, but maybe we could see why people would, because it's zany. It feels different.
Yeah.
I respect that. I do. But I don't think I need to see this.
No, you don't.
If you, well, I'll give the Jake version.
Okay.
If you liked the first one, you'll probably like this one. Actually, that's not the Jake one. The Jake's maybe more like, if you like this kind of thing, yeah, you'll probably like it.
Yeah, maybe you like see it.
I will say that as me. If you liked the first movie, this is more of the same.
I feel
You'll
it's on the
probably
level.
like it.
Yep.
Because there was not a big drop in quality. I was just annoyed they didn't do more with it.
But I'm starting, for me, I get a little bit frustrated. Like now that I know this spoiler, I go, oh no, is this now homework? Is this now something I need to see?
No. I think if you know the concept of Venom, that's all you need to know.
Is Eddie
although is Eddie going to fight against Spider-Man?
Yeah, is Tom
it doesn't
Hardy
make sense.
Is Tom Hardy going to be right next to de-aged Alfred Molina and Willem Dafoe
Probably.
and Jamie Foxx?
What they've done
But why
with the
would Eddie
character-
fight against Spider-Man?
Well, why would Doc Ock fight against Spider-Man? Let's be honest.
Because he went mad
No,
when
he
the
didn't.
ship broke.
Nope. He saved the day in the end. You know that. In Spider-Man 2.
yeah.
He got his sanity back.
Yeah.
Character
He is not a
redemption.
villain anymore.
Perfect arc, perfect movie. But
he looks
that's
younger.
for another time.
So it's maybe it's,
Oh, he looks a little
they got
more...
him. They got him when he was peak
He looks a
fighting
little more
Spider-Man.
filtered, not younger. Anyways, another review for another time. Venom, I don't really want to end this review.
Yes.
We shouldn't end the review.
Eddie, end this review now.
I can fit very neatly in a suitcase.